your goldfish at home. Now these guys right now are happily eating some pea krill. They are a tiny shrimp. There's going to be thousands of them in that little squirt bottle that Miss Cassie has. And as well as those shrimp, they're going to have nori in that squirt bottle. And nori is actually a type of seaweed. It is actually dried seaweed that most sushi chefs use to wrap the sushi up in. So if you've ever eaten sushi before, you've actually eaten the same thing our fish do. Now the other dive shows, just to get their vegetables in, they will be eating bok choy, which is a Japanese type of lettuce. Now this is our third largest exhibit in the aquarium. It holds about 65,000 gallons of salt water. Now all the salt water in the aquarium is made here in-house by our biologists and our life support staff. And it is mainly just Gatlinburg city water. We take out the stuff that's bad for fish and good for people, like chlorine, and add in a whole bunch of salt to that, table salt. Now there is a secret mix of other elements and minerals to help promote the water quality of the tank and also the health of our fish. But only about 4 people in the aquarium actually know that. Now this is a representation of what you might see if you went swimming in Australia or Indonesia, in an area known as the Indo-Pacific Ocean. This coral reef here would be where you find most of these fish here. Now we do have 1,000 fish representing 100 different species in this tank, and I'm not going to be able to talk about all of them, but I will hit some of the cooler fish in this exhibit. Now probably the largest family in here is the tang family. One of our tangs is very famous. She co-starred in Finding Nemo. Anyone know her name? Dory. Dory. Everybody knows Dory. Dory is actually a regal blue tang. As you can see, she's got that blue body and that black saddle and the yellow tail. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but Dory actually carries around a couple knives with her. Right at the base of her tail, she's got 2 chips made out of bone, and they are razor sharp. It's how she gets the nickname surgeon fish. And that is a trait shared amongst all tang members. So it's a little bit easier to see that bone chip on some of our other tanks, like our Sohol tanks. These gray and blue guys with the orange stripe, that is actually that bone chip. And if you look and see these bigger white fish with the horns sticking out of their head, does anyone want to take a guess at their name?
Unicorn.
May have heard it, but unicorn tangs. So those are unicorn tangs. There's actually several members of the unicorn tang family. We've got our orange spotted unicorn tangs. They're going to be the guys with the 2 orange spikes that are kind of Tennessee ball orange at the base of their tail, kind of down here. Now we do also have some sailfin tanks that can spread out their fins like a sailfish. And we've got some powder blue and powder orange tanks as well. And our yellow tanks, which is Bubbles from the dentist office in Finding Nemo. So we do have many members of the tank family here. Now another big family we have are the butterflies. Down here you can see some saddleback butterflies and some pearl scale butterfly fish. They're going to be the smaller ones. They do mate for life out in the wild, which is pretty rare for fish, but they will stick together in a mating pair until one passes away or gets eaten, and they will pick a new mate. Now we do also have some angelfish in this exhibit, and what's cool about angelfish is they actually all start out life as females. Eventually about 1 in every 3 to 4 will turn into a male, and then he will lead his harem of females around till he passes away, and then usually the largest female takes over that harem and turns herself into a male. Now in here we've also got some schooling fish. They aren't really schooling in here because they don't really have any predators. If you go to our next exhibit, Shark Lagoon, you'll see a lot of similar species are grouped up into big groups or schools. Probably the easiest one to name are these black and yellow fish. They're called stripies. Pretty easy. But another schooling fish we have are these big guys. They are batfish or spadefish. So out in the wild, they'll actually stick together in tighter groups than they normally do here. Now, one of my favorite fish in this exhibit is our pufferfish, and I saw her around earlier, but I've lost her now. Guys, can you help us find our pufferfish? Thank you. Now, our pufferfish is a guinea fowl puffer. She's about the size of a football. She's purple with white spots. And when she does get spooked, she will inflate herself up to 3 times her normal size. So she'll be about the size of a small beach ball. The reason I like her is she's actually got a bit of an attitude. She's kind of the tank drama queen. And she'll sit at that top step, because that's where we feed her. And she'll wait for us to feed her. And if we're taking her sweet time getting her fins on, or we're not feeding her that day, she'll actually start squirting water at us to let us know that we need to hurry it on up. So she does have a bit of a personality. Now, one of my other favorite fish in here is the only working fish in this tank. Everyone else gets room service 2 hours, or every 2 hours. They have no predators to worry about. But our cleaner Rex actually does have a job. He sits up right around this brain coral. He waits for other fish to swim by, and he'll actually clean them. In return, he doesn't get eaten. He's pretty small himself, and he also gets a free meal out of it. So he'll even clean out the inside of other fish's gills and their mouth and things like that. Now, this is our coral reef exhibit, and it does surprise some people to learn that this coral is fake. About 95% of the coral in the aquarium is fake, and there is good reasons behind that. One of them being that you can't harvest coral from the ocean. It's actually highly illegal. All the aquariums would be in jail right now if they did that. Also, it's very sensitive, so transporting this huge amount of coral from the ocean to here would actually probably kill about 80% of it, which would be a huge waste. Now, you can buy coral in small amounts. It's a lot easier to transport and keep alive from even your local aquarium stores. So if we did buy a few cups of coral and put them along the bottom here, we'd probably wait about 1,000 years for that to grow up and fill this exhibit. So coral does grow very slowly, but it is very important. It only covers about 1% of the ocean floor, but it houses about 25% of all fish species. So it's very important out in the wild. Now, coral is also an animal. It's small and colonial in nature. Kind of looks like a tiny jellyfish turned upside down, or a tiny sea anemone. And it forms these huge structures by layering itself on top of its dead ancestors. They form these calcium carbonate shells, and they'll build these elaborate structures. Now, a few representations we have. We've got the brain coral over here. It's pretty easy. Looks like a brain. These flat table-looking structures up the archway are table coral, another easy one. And the big bushy structures right there are staghorn coral. So pretty easy to recognize, but they do form all kinds of cool shapes and colors. Now, if you do want to see some living coral, we have some in our living coral exhibit over in the gallery of the seats. And you'll notice it's a lot more colorful, and it also moves in the waves. You can see the tiny individual polyps there. I think Cassie's about to goofing off for us tonight, so I'm going to get her attention. I just want to give her a big round of applause for getting in the water tonight. And I'm going to stick around and answer any questions. If you want to get your picture with Cassie, feel free to do so. She's going to hang out for a few minutes. We do have another dive show. It's going to be our last one of the night at 11 o'clock over at Ray Bay. Cassie and I are going to be switching places. She's going to give you a short narration down there, and I'm going to feed our stingrays. Thank you all for coming tonight. Hope you have a great rest of your evening.